Welcome back to Dad and Daughter Reads, a book club podcast. I'm James, your co-host, and this is episode 31. We're continuing our read of Katabasis by R.F. Kuang, and this week we're covering chapters 22 through 28. Before we dive in, we have an announcement. Katabasis will be the last book we read together on this podcast. We'll be shutting things down after we finish it. Maybe not forever, but for now. We're not certain what the future holds, but we've had an amazing time sharing these reads with you. And with that said, as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Miranda, who's here to catch us up on her week and what she's been reading. Miranda?
Hello. Sad news. You didn't tell me that before we started.
Well, we talked about it last week.
I know, but we kind of left it up in the air, but...
Oh, well.
That's okay. Honestly, at this time, probably best. So I'm adjusting to new things too. Well, hey guys. Yeah, how's my week? Well, I got a job. So I started training for that job this week. It's at a pub, waiting tables and hopefully soon bartending. And I'm tired. I'm caffeinating heavily today, which honestly the problem was is that I just didn't get enough sleep last night. I couldn't fall asleep and then I woke up at 7, so struggling. Yeah, other than that, still trying to read that Olga Dies Dreaming book. It's just been a lot of running around the past couple weeks trying to get adjusted and get the job and interviews and all this stuff. So, but I'm actually starting 75 hard this Friday. So I will be reading at least for an hour every single day starting this Friday. So
Wait a minute, you're starting what now?
75 hard.
I don't know what that is.
It's it's not a diet. It's more of it's like a challenge to change your habits kind of deal. So basically the traditional 75 hard is you pick a diet and you stick to it. I'm already vegan, but I am going to cut out ultra processed foods and I'm not going to eat out. And I'm going to try to get 100 grams of protein every day. And then you have to work out twice a day, 45 minutes each, and one has to be outside. And then you're supposed to read a certain amount of pages of a self-help book every day, but I've already read a lot of those. So I'm just reading for an hour every day, whatever books I want to read. I'm also going to put aside an hour every day to write. I think that's it. No alcohol. It's just you do it for 75 days. You do this strict schedule for 75 days to create better habits and break old habits. And then the challenge part is that you can't cheat. If you cheat, then you have to start completely over. So you have to do it every day for 75 days. Yeah, so I'm starting that on Friday. If anything, to just kind of create better habits. I'm not going to be horrifyingly strict just because of my work schedule and everything. So maybe some people call that a 75 medium when you're not as strict about it. I'm going to try to be as strict as possible because I really do need to get back into shape. Yeah. So anyway, I'll be reading for an hour every day for 75 days starting on Friday. So I'm kind of excited about it. I'm ready to get back into it once I'm settled into this job and everything and I figure out what my schedule is going to be, then that'll be nice. But yeah, so that's me. That's me just really trying to adjust to the newness of it all. That's about it. I haven't really been watching much TV. Haven't had time.
No.
Yeah, no. And then just, getting angry on TikTok. That's about it.
That's pointless.
I know. I want to delete it, but I don't think you can. I still think you can't re-download it if you delete it off your phone. I don't think it's.
No, I think it's back on the App Store. Yeah. Although apparently it's going to be sold to some Americans and then they're going to change the algorithm. And I believe some of the people that are going to be part owners are the Murdochs. So expect the algorithm to steer everybody a little bit to the right.
It's already doing that.
Yeah.
The amount of right-wing stuff I'm getting, and I'm as left as they go. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So
But anyway, how was your week?
another boring old man week for me. Work. Still watching Babylon 5. I'm on season 3. Haven't read anything other than the 5th edition 2024 D&D Player's Handbook. So I've been reading that because it's been a while since I've read a D&D Player's Handbook. Probably 10 years, I guess, since the last edition. Well, last edition was still 5th edition. So it's kind of weird. They didn't release a whole new edition this time. They just kind of changed some things for 2024, and the last one was 2014. So it's been 10 years. Yeah, that's about it. Working and watching Babylon 5 and watching football when the Bucks play and watching NASCAR race when it's on. That's really about it. Pretty boring.
How are the Bucks doing so far?
They're 3-0.
Oh, wow.
But every game they won on a last 2-minute drive by Baker Mayfield. So they've barely won the 3 games they've won, and they've all been against terrible teams. So
got it.
We'll see. But they play the Eagles this week, so it'll be a challenge.
Yeah.
And their offensive line is like 3 of them are injured and not even playing. And then Mike Evans was injured this past week with another hamstring injury. He gets one like every year. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, because one of my new managers, she's from Florida, and she wears a Buccaneers necklace every day.
Oh, really?
And I haven't had time to like ask her about it or talk to her about it yet, but I keep noticing it and being like, because I haven't spent too much time with her, because I only like real conversation I had with her was the interview, but then I've just kind of caught her in passing because hasn't worked a shift with me yet, but every time I've seen her, she's had the Buccaneers flag necklace. So I'm like, okay, how are the Bucks doing? So if I work with her today, I'll talk to her about it, get on her good side.
Right. Now you know.
Now I know. Be like, how about them Bucks 3-0? It's gonna be a challenge though this week. They're playing the Eagles. That guy and his hamstring. Can you believe?
There you go. I'm glad I could help you out there.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so that's about it for me. So I guess we can move on. Well, before we get into the recap, I just want to say I don't think I'm liking this book. We're like 4/5 of the way through it. So, unless something drastic happens in the next 100 or so pages, it's not looking too good.
I know. Yet another, we thought it was going to be good, started out cool. We're losing the plot. We've lost the plot.
Yeah.
Literally.
I don't know what's... There's just so much weirdness going on.
We've literally lost the plot.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I would have to agree. And it's very disappointing because the first section, I was like, oh, this is going to be so cool. They're like traveling through hell and they're going to talk a lot about philosophy. And now I'm like, what?
Yep. So, I don't know. We'll see. I highly doubt the last 100 pages is going to be able to save it. I don't know. Anyway, we'll get on here with the recap of last week.
All right. So, in the last section, we met Elspeth, the mysterious boatman who was a former student of Grimes who committed suicide. She tells Alice and Peter about the Kripkes, 2 magicians who also killed themselves, but for a stunt to try to escape hell and come back to life, finding the true contradiction, something Elspeth has been trying to do herself as well. The Kripkes created the Bone Chalk dogs and are after live people in hell for their blood, as this is what gives Chalk its power in hell. Alice comes up with a plan to betray Elspeth and find the true contradiction herself, enlisting Peter's help, who is still angry at her for choosing the green apple. Elspeth discovers what they are trying to do and leaves them in wrath. After walking in circles, they fall into a pit that the Kripkes made to trap them, and Peter crashes out, accusing Alice of being in love with Grimes, and asks her why she came to find him when she denies it. She tells him she killed him, and tells him the story about when Grimes made advances on her and she refused them, essentially ruining her reputation. Peter, understanding now, confesses that his plan was to trade his own soul for Grimes, believing that he was the one to kill him, and not Alice. Dun, dun, dun.
Right. It was the I killed him. No, I killed him.
Right.
Thing at the end. Well, let's find out who really did kill him. Maybe. I don't think we do.
I don't know. Will we ever?
I don't know. All right. Chapter 22. This chapter delves into Peter's backstory, revealing his struggle with Crohn's disease. While working on his dissertation about categorization, Peter suffered a severe flare-up that required partial removal of his colon. During his recovery, Grimes appropriated Peter's dissertation and presented it as his own work. When Grimes later asked Peter to review the paper, Peter deliberately performed a careless check as revenge. Peter now believes this negligence led to Grimes' death when the malfunctioning work was implemented.
What did you think about Peter's Crohn's disease?
Well, apparently, from what I've heard, is R.F. Kuang's husband has Crohn's disease.
See, I meant to look it up because I was like, somehow she's got to know somebody or has or something Crohn's disease, because this is random. Because what a random thing for Peter to have. But okay, that makes sense then.
Yeah, I believe that's true. So yes. Okay, so here we go. Yes, okay. R.F. Kuang's husband, Bennett Eckert Kuang, has Crohn's disease.
Got it.
So that's probably why it's in here.
Wait, did he take her last name?
I think so.
Oh, that's funny. That's cool. Because I was like, because I feel
he must have. That's what it said.
Yeah, because she's been our.
Yeah, because when I first read that. Yeah, because when I first read that in my head, I was like, wait, what? But I just kept going. But yeah, I guess he took her last name. Interesting.
Whoa, that's wild. But okay, got it. Because I was like, what a random thing for Peter to have, Crohn's disease.
Yeah.
And that's like why he's always gone and
off to himself and stuff. Yeah.
Because didn't want to tell anybody about it. Which, like, Crohn's disease is hard thing.
The only person I ever knew that had that, and I didn't really know them well, was our tank in World of Warcraft for the guild I was in. He had Crohn's disease, and it was always, we never knew if he was going to show up for the raid. And you can't do a raid without your main tank. So that's my
So you know exactly how Peter feels.
Yes, exactly. I'm just giving my own experience with Crohn's disease here. That's the only experience I've ever had with it, or with anybody who has had it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think my old roommate had it, or like they were testing for it or something, because she always kind of had issues too. But yeah, and then I guess this was in the 80s, so they didn't really know a lot about it either. So a lot of experimental stuff, and I mean, they still don't have like a cure for it, but it's much more manageable these days, I think. But yeah, so this was the 80s, so it was like a huge thing. But it was interesting though that he was so privileged and so smart that nobody cared that he was always gone, like he was like, whatever, like I was always just able to just show up because I was just
because when he had his colon removed, he didn't even tell anybody.
Yeah,
he just went and had it done.
He never told anybody anything. Like nobody knew except for his parents and his doctors that he had Crohn's, because he was like ashamed of it in some way, shape, or form. Oh yeah, because he had that childhood trauma. Because some girl was like, "Oh, you're an invalid," or
his birthday party, right?
Yeah, he had the childhood trauma.
Yeah,
and so it made him feel
like people were giving him charity, or being nice to him
like
because he was sick,
pity
kind of thing.
Yeah,
pity.
Yeah, that's right. So he just didn't tell anybody, but it's just amazing how far a white man can go, even by not showing up to half the things and not,
Yeah.
doing all that stuff. So I thought that was interesting, because I think that was kind of the point. Like Alice has to constantly be working and showing up on time and doing all of these things all of the time. And then like this white boy can just kind of flit about and as seemingly, never show up. And it's like, oh, that's just Peter.
Right.
So I did think that was interesting. Yeah. And then Professor Grimes, terrible man, taking credit for students' work. Didn't see that coming.
Oh, no, not at all.
Didn't see that coming.
All right, chapter 23. Peter devises a solution to free one person from the pit using a paradox. Believing it will only work for one of them, he insists Alice should be the one to escape. When Alice begs him to modify the solution for both of them, Peter refuses, convinced such changes would result in both of their deaths. He forcibly places Alice into the pentagram and seals it. The pit ejects Alice and closes, seemingly trapping Peter inside. Peter is still inside the pit. Alice is outside the pit, and we don't know what's going to happen to them. But we don't find out right away either, because we have another flashback chapter. Chapter 24. A flashback showing when Alice first met Grimes, along with the details of his background. Unlike his colleague, Grimes came from humble origins. After high school, he enlisted in the military, which funded his education at Oxford. When war broke out, he returned to service and established his reputation as a skilled magician. Didn't it say something like he went to school in Austin?
He's from America. He's from Texas.
Oh, well, see, I didn't know Grimes was from Texas. Did I miss that somehow?
I think we find out in that chapter.
Oh, yeah, because... And then I guess when he joined the military... See, this was kind of confusing. Because he was from Texas, and then he joined the military... Went to Austin. I guess he went to the University of Texas. And then went back into the military. But then it seemed like it was the British military.
Yeah.
The way it was worded.
I wonder if they do that over there, though. I wonder if, like, you join our military, then we'll pay for you to go to college here or something. I don't know.
And then he got out. I don't know. I'm confused. I was confused by that a little bit. I still am. But it doesn't matter. Who cares?
He's from Texas. He's from America like Alice and came from humble beginnings like Alice and had to work his way up like Alice. That's the whole point of this chapter.
That's the point of the chapter, but it was still kind of confusing the way it read.
Yeah. But it is...
Because there's no Austin in England. I looked that up because I'm like, it says he's from Austin or went to Austin, went to school in Austin or something like that. I can't remember now. But anyway, fine. Okay.
But yeah, he was from Austin because then he always felt kind of like dumb when he was at Oxford because everybody would make fun of his Texas accent.
Right. Yeah, I caught all that part, but it was the part that's really confusing is when it talks about him going back into the military to be this big magician for the military. Because that part seemed like he was in the British military, not the American military.
Well, yeah, I think
because he first went into the military. Okay, so he went into the military, came out with, something, GI Bill, I guess, maybe whatever, to pay for his schooling in Austin. Then went back into the military before Oxford.
I don't remember that part.
Or then went to Oxford, then got out and went into the military for the English.
I think he went to Oxford and then went into the military for the English. Because people do that. That happens.
I guess. It's just not very... I don't think that's very common, though.
I don't know. I mean, I think that there are a lot of, I've seen a lot of TikToks of people from foreign countries joining our military so that they can get citizenship.
Yeah, but that doesn't even really give them citizenship.
Well, whatever. They join the military. They join our military. So it's not unheard of that, someone from another country.
Oh, right. I guess. I mean, immigrants that come here do that.
Right. So that's what he did in England.
I guess so. Yeah. It just seems weird.
Yeah, he didn't like America, I guess. He liked England.
I guess so. I mean, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I just kind of read kind of weird to me. All right, well, let's move on because it's really not even worth talking about. Even though we've spent 5 minutes.
Not yet. All right, hopefully it will be.
Chapter 25, Overwhelmed with Guilt. So we're now back in hell here, by the way. Alice continues onward after witnessing the Kripkes enter the pit and seemingly drain Peter of his blood. So she saw the Kripkes at the pit. They had these big bags. They were on their belts that apparently the blood goes in. And then I guess she heard some screaming. It sounded like Peter. So I guess Peter's dead. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? So she continues on and makes her way to Tyranny, where she discovers a tower housing the Ironies. They speak directly into her mind, asking, "Whose oaths have you broken?" And Alice responds, "I was just trying, only doing my best." The Erinys permit her to enter the final court of hell. Inside, she notices numerous crumpled papers scattered about. Upon examining them, she realizes they appear to be fragments of someone's life dissertation. So it was a dissertation of someone's life. Mm-hmm. Alice walks until sunset. Then while resting, Archimedes, the cat, returns to her side and they lie down together.
And so Alice doesn't really know what she's doing or where she's going anymore.
Right.
She's just kind of like, I'm just going to keep going, I guess, and see what happens. But now she's like overwhelmed with her grief and her, her guilt and all that. So, I don't know.
Right.
Boring.
Yeah. So the Erinys were chthonic goddesses of vengeance in ancient Greek religion and mythology. A formulaic oath in the Iliad invokes them as the Erinys that under earth take vengeance on men whosoever have sworn a false oath.
Right.
So that's why they're asking her about what oaths she's broken, etc.
Yeah.
And they're like, I guess, the last gateway before you can get into the final court of hell. Chapter 26, Alice has a nightmare and awakens to find a shade standing over her. Archimedes is nowhere to be seen. The shade, who introduces himself as John Gratis, offers to guide Alice to the gates of Dis, which is D-I-S. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Maybe it's Dis. Either way, I'm going to call it Dis. In exchange for this help, Alice must answer his many questions. He primarily wants to know about life and what has changed since his time. When Alice inquires about the scattered papers, Gratis explains they are dissertations. You have to write one to get out, but you cannot lie, he tells her, adding that he's never witnessed anyone leave. Gratis informs Alice that those in Dis, I said it wrong again. Those in Dis are people who have broken great oaths. When Alice has, okay. So I thought they had to say something to the Erinys about, I guess, if you just tell them that you did break an oath and what it was, they let you in. I don't know. Anyway, when Alice asks why Gratis himself is there, he sternly warns her to never ask that of anyone in Dis. You can take confessions if freely offered, he explains, but never ask. So it's like prison. You're not allowed to ask why they're in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, so they're all trying to write these papers about how it's supposed to be like a confession and like almost like, this is why what I did was wrong and here's what I learned from it. But that's what the dissertations are supposed to be. And then they get submitted. Yeah.
And then they submit them and apparently we'll find out that no one probably even reads them.
Yeah.
Or they do and nobody cares because nothing has ever happened.
Right.
All right, chapter 27. Gratis guides Alice through Dis, where countless shades struggle to complete their dissertations. The city features a writing bazaar with deities peddling writing services. Gratis explains that these distractions paradoxically exist to improve their writing skills despite seemingly hindering their progress. So it's like somebody who wants to write, but all they do is read books about writing. They never actually do the writing.
Right.
He then takes Alice to a workshop where shades collaborate on their dissertations. Here, Alice meets Gertrude, a shade who advocates transforming hell into a paradise rather than focusing on writing. Gertrude firmly believes that this existence is all they have, their ultimate reality.
Yeah, so she's just living in the moment, she said.
Right.
I don't believe in any of this. Like, this is just where we are now. And so we just have to like build something from here, which was interesting. Yeah, this whole thing was kind of giving me a little bit of like The Good Place vibes, like nothing matters.
Yeah, right.
None of this matters. None of it's worth it. Like nobody's passed, nobody's gone through. They're not letting anybody out. Yeah, it was kind of giving that vibe to me.
Yeah, because when we first started this chapter, there was a shade and all the other shades were kind of egging him on to put his dissertation in this big folder or this big file, because that's how they submit them. So they put it in the file, then they close the file, and supposedly it's been submitted. And then if whoever's supposed to be reading them passes them, then they get to leave. And like the dude said, he's never seen anyone leave before.
Right. Yeah, but then they started reading off their dissertations, and I was like, well, all these dissertations are terrible. Because they were like, but she deserved it. But they da-da-da. But I didn't actually do anything wrong. You know?
Oh,
So
right.
they're all kind
The
of...
one talking about his wife.
Yeah, but I think a lot of them are probably doing that. I don't think any of them are actually like really learning or like thinking about
Right.
what they
Because
get.
they're
all still trying...
blaming all their problems on something else or someone else.
Yeah. They're all... Because, isn't that just how humans are? Like, nothing can be our fault, right? And so they're still kind of stuck in that. So that's also kind of why it's like, that's probably why nobody's getting passed on too, because everybody fucking sucks. Because they can't admit that what they did was wrong and that they hurt other people. So I don't know, because every time they talk, it was like, okay, well, that dissertation's terrible. Like, of course it's not going to get you through. And then I liked too that there was like one that was like, was he going to write it for them or something? Like they had ones already made and you had to buy them.
One of the deities. Yeah.
So that it also just feels like a test in that way too, like all these people are like voting off other people to write their dissertations. And it's like, what? Why would you do that? That's the whole point. Like you're never going to get out. So it feels like an endless like circle, like endless loop of like, you're never going to get out because you keep falling for these things. So that's also why I was kind of, to me, giving like the good place, like, can humans actually be good, learn to be good, even when they're, in the afterlife and being tested or whatever. So,
yeah, I don't know if it was this chapter or the next one. We have an appearance from Cerberus, the three-headed dog in hell, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that whole thing was just dumb. It was like a damn cameo of some famous person on a TV show, and it was worthless to even mention that Cerberus was there.
Well, I think it was just the idea that they've all been stuck there for so long and they can't feel anything, and that's the only way that they can feel something is by getting like
attacked by Cerberus.
Up by Cerberus, which I hated that. I hated everything about that. I hate the thought of being eaten alive, and that was very difficult for me to read through.
That's why last week I asked you. Remember the question that Armel had?
Mm-hmm.
If you feared an animal. That's why I said sharks, because I know you have that fear of being eaten alive.
Right. And you know what, Dad? If you want to talk about that, that's your fault. Do you know that that's your fault?
I know exactly what it's from. Yes, I know.
You traumatized me as a kid, and now I have an irrational fear of being eaten alive because of you.
And it was because of a shark, a fake shark.
Jaws, yeah.
At Jaws at Universal Studios.
Yep, you told me to sit on the outside of the boat. I remember because you were like, "Do you want to sit on the outside, sit by the water?" You told me to, and then you were like, "That's a real shark. That shark is going to eat you."
I don't think I said that shark is going to eat you.
You did. You said that's a real shark.
I did say it was a real shark. Yes, and it wasn't.
You convinced me that it was a real shark. I was like 7 years old. All right. I was like little. I was like 7 or 8 years old. And I truly believed that shark was going to eat all of us on the boat. And I was sitting on the edge because that's where he told me to sit so that he could tell me that the fake shark was real. And I believed him because I was a child. And now I have an irrational fear of being eaten alive, but not necessarily by sharks, just in general. Because my thing is like, there's probably not going to be an instance where I'm going to get eaten alive. Probably not.
Right. The chances are low.
Because even if I did get attacked by a shark, I mean, it might chomp on me, but hopefully it wouldn't like chew me up and eat me. I don't know.
Right.
But I'm pretty aware.
Yeah, shark attacks usually don't happen like they do in the movie Jaws.
Right. It's just like a bite. They like bite something off or something, which I still don't want that to happen. But I am aware of sharks being in the ocean and that it is their territory. And I will not swim in an ocean if I know that there is a great risk of shark in the ocean because I respect animals in that way.
So when you move to Australia, you're never going to go swimming. Because there's a lot of sharks down there.
There's also a lot of alligators.
Yeah, there's a lot of everything.
Or crocodiles, I mean.
Crocodiles, yeah.
Yeah, they're like fucking, yeah. No, I will not be swimming in shark-infested waters. I mean, I will go in the water, and there will be people who are watching out for sharks, and if they see a shark, I will get the fuck out of there. So, there you go.
All right.
But
All right,
but
we've gotten a
anyway,
little off.
I'm not.
We're off course here.
Yeah, I'm not scared of them, but I am scared of just being eaten alive in general. So anyway, I didn't like that part of the book. Is what we're going. Getting back to. I did not like that these people were like, eat me. I hated that. I was like, please, no. That is my personal hell right there. Is getting chewed up by Cerberus every day.
Yeah. All right. The final chapter of this section, chapter 28. Gertrude leads Alice up a stairway to what she calls the Rebel Fortress. Sounds like Star Wars. There, Alice discovers shades who have come to rest and transformed into bushes. They attempt to persuade Alice to rest and calm her mind, but she finds herself unable to comply and instead questions them. One shade reveals they are simply waiting for the end, believing the courts of hell will eventually collapse in on themselves. Alice responds bluntly, if you're waiting for nothing, then why don't you just die? One of the shades reverts to human form and starts running away and flees. Alice pursues it to the river Leth, where the shade jumps in and is swallowed by the waters. Alarmed, Alice races back through the bush-like shades and escapes Dees, returning to the dunes beyond. So she ran away and just ran all the way out of the city.
Yeah, this whole thing was weird because, one, Gertrude's like the head of this whole thing, but she's not a part of it.
Right.
She's just bringing people to it, but she's not actually like sitting there contemplating and turning into shrubbery or what the fuck ever.
Right.
And then also, I was convinced that new shade that got up and ran away was Grimes until he ran into the river, and then I was like, well, never mind.
Right. Yes, that's what I kind of thought at first too. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, are we finally gonna get? Are we getting somewhere here? And then it wasn't, and then she ran out, and I was like, we still have not found the plot. I was like, are we finding the plot? No, we did not find the plot. The plot is still lost. So that was a little annoying. That whole thing was kind of annoying to me. I didn't really like that. But I guess we got a lot of, Alice's, she's kind of having a mental breakdown right now,
Yeah.
She's having a mental breakdown, which is kind of like what this is supposed to be, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
He's having an existential crisis, mental breakdown.
Right.
Because I think this whole time, too, she's been kind of contemplating just like dying anyway, right? Like she's been a little suicidal this whole book.
Right. Yeah.
And so this is the moment where she's like, no, I want to live.
Yeah. And I didn't really get any of this stuff either with the bushes and whatnot.
Yeah. I think it was just for her to have that moment of like, wait,
yeah, I guess so.
I want to like live. Because that is like I don't know. Yeah. I mean, the whole sitting there, contemplating, just meditating type of idea. And then like, what is the meaning of all of this? What is the meaning of life? And you get that nihilistic approach. And then she like had her breakthrough of like, wait a minute, like there has to be a point. Like there has to be a point. This can't just be it. We can't just die. And then this is what happens. And so now she is going to hopefully do something now. Because it still didn't really feel like she was going to do anything after she left.
Yeah, I mean, she's out and back into the dunes, so who knows what's going to happen? I don't know.
Yeah, but then she was kind of just like stuck there. So we'll see what happens next.
Yeah, I'm very, very, very confused with this book.
Yeah, we just totally lost the plot. I thought it was going to be more straightforward than this, and there's just been a lot of like jumping back and forth and philosophy in a way I don't like. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see how it shakes out, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the end of this section. We got about a little over 100 pages to go for the last section, and we'll see what happens.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of Dad and Daughter Reads, a book club podcast. Thanks for joining us as we work through chapters 22 through 28 of Katabasis by R.F. Kuang. Next week, we'll be covering chapters 29 through 35, which will take us to the end of the book and the end of the podcast, at least for now. Like we said earlier, we're not sure if this is goodbye forever. We do know it's goodbye for a while. Until then, you can still connect with us on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and in our Discord. All the links are in the show notes. Thanks for listening and happy reading.
Our intro music is Upbeat Funk, performed by Mikhail Smusev, and our outro music is Lo-Fi Chill, medium version, performed by Bodan Kuzmin. You can find both tracks on pixabay.com. Thanks for joining us, family, and we'll see you next week.